Recently, I started using Notion for a few tasks. The lovely part of Notion was AI part, which you don't have to leave your Notion to get AI assistance while working on your notes. So I wanted to have similar experience of Notion AI but Obsidian. With Obsidian, I had to switch back and forth between Obsidian and the browser to do such tasks like summarizing notes, fixing grammar, or translating. Luckily, the plugin I will introduce today will streamline this workflow and you don't have to leave your Obsidian anymore. So without further ado, let's try to install Copilot plugins first. Go to Community Plugins and browse Copilot here. And install it, enable it, and let's jump into options. It can be pretty daunting to go through all the settings right now, but I will show the important parts for today's setup. The first one is default model. You can save the default model for running your Copilot plugin. It can be ChatGPT 3.5, Cloud, Gemini, Llama, but for today's demo, I will just use ChatGPT 3.5. And if you scroll down, you can see API settings. If you want to use ChatGPT, we need Open API key. Create one if you have not yet, and copy here. And after that, make sure you save and reload it. Otherwise, your changes will not be applied. Once you install this plugin successfully, now you can start using this chat box here. Let me explain UI parts a little bit before I dive into use cases. The first thing is you can change models quickly here, selecting ChatGPT 3.5, Llama, or other things. But make sure you have the correct API key set up before changing to a different model. And the second one is, let me ask you a question. How many times we lost our conversation with ChatGPT? You can save your previous conversation directly in Obsidian. So if you save as note, it will be saved in this Copilot-conversations directory, and then you can just change your title for later use. So let's talk about a few use cases I found useful to use this plugin. The first use case is summarize notes. If you have long notes, it's pretty useful to see quick summary for refresh. So for example, this demystified Zettel custom, I wrote this one a few years ago, so I barely remember the content of it. So what I would do is select all and summarize selection. Then Copilot will give me a bullet points, and then I can start with this quick summary to remind myself about these notes. So next use case to me was explain to me like I'm 5. When you encounter a difficult concept, you can ask AI to explain in a simpler way so you can wrap your head around. So for example, I was studying about the LDA model and topic categorization, and I was stuck in the concept of LDA model. So what I would do is I would select it and ask explain to me about LDA model in simpler terms in one paragraph. Now, AI tells me about the concept of LDA model with easier terms. So I was able to understand better. Last use case is translation. If you have to communicate with different languages, you can ask AI to translate quickly. For most cases, I write notes in English, but sometimes I want to share with Korean friends. In that case, I just ask AI to translate quickly here, like this. Select text and translate selection, and click Korean. Now AI translate beautifully, so I don't have to touch anymore. I can share right away. Copilot already covers a lot of use cases for you. However, you can be as creative as you want to be with custom prompts. The only limitation is your imagination, as the author of this plugin said. I like to show my use cases. I like to do weekly review every Friday. Basically, I do review what were the big achievements from the previous week and what will be the main goals for the next week. Usually I have most important tasks, appointments, deadlines. The problem was that it's tedious to carry over the incomplete item to the next week and construct the next week's agenda. Thankfully, the author of this plugin demo how to do this one with the custom prompts. So the first step is to create a template and use this template to go through the current weekly note and create a new one for the next week. I have 3 different sections: review of last week, for achievements and goals for the next week, and schedules. Under schedules, I have 3 different areas: key task, which I prioritize tasks, and appointments and deadlines. And what I want AI do is to carry over the items and combine new items from the goals for the next week, so that I can easily schedule each item based on the priority and deadlines. The next step is to create or edit the custom prompt. To do so, you can click edit custom prompts and weekly note here, and I ask AI to follow the format and instruction that I saved in weekly note template and create a new weekly note that I can copy and paste it. And I ask a few format instructions here. If you want it, I will share in the description and you can use it freely. And once I saved it, I can run this custom prompt. And I will apply custom prompt here. And weekly note, once I click it, now AI generate a new weekly note for me. So if we quickly see it attached these 2 incomplete items and new goals in the key task, and also carry over the deadlines here. So now I can just copy and paste this and create a new note and say weekly note 2. So this was really helpful for me to automate the process that I usually find it tedious. Today I showed you how to set up the Copilot plugins to use AI inside the Obsidian and few use cases which can be useful for your notes. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching video.